My friend, if you're over 50, you probably know this feeling well. At night, when the sunlight fades and the world sinks into darkness, your eyes just don't feel as sharp as they once did. The words on a page blur the glare from oncoming headlights, forces you to squint, and even walking around your own home feels more cautious than before. Maybe you've asked yourself, why are the things that used to feel so normal suddenly so difficult? Now I'm 60 years old, and after decades of practicing medicine, I've heard this story many times from my patients. One man once told me, "Doctor, every time I drive at night, it feels like the lights are tearing through my eyes. I don't feel confident enough to take my wife out to evening gatherings anymore." I could hear the sadness in his voice. Behind those tired eyes wasn't just failing vision. It was the loss of freedom of joy, of confidence in his own life. This truly is not unusual. Our eyes, especially after middle age, face enormous challenges. The retina, the part of the eye that captures light and turns it into images, uses an incredible amount of energy. That process produces free radicals, tiny but destructive molecules. When we're young, melatonin and other antioxidants sweep them away. But as the years pass, this defense weakens. Melatonin decreases blood circulation to the eyes slows, and that waste builds up silently damaging the very cells that allow us to see clearly in the dark. Have you ever noticed that when you walk into a dark room, it takes much longer than it used to for your eyes to adjust? Or when you sit down to read in the evening, the same familiar lamp no longer feels bright enough, the letters blur, and you find yourself holding the book farther and farther away. To me, those changes are not just biology, they are a reflection of aging itself, of the human journey. I often tell my patients that the eyes are like a garden. When you're young, that garden is lush and green. But if you don't care for it, don't water it, weeds creep in the soil, dries out, and the plants begin to wither. Our eyes are the same. Without proper nourishment, without rest and renewal, they will inevitably fade. One of my patients, a 58-year-old woman, told me she no longer dares to go for evening walks. "I'm afraid of tripping, doctor," she said. "I used to love strolling through my neighborhood after dinner, watching the streetlights glow, breathing the cool night air. But now my eyes have betrayed me." Hearing that, I felt a deep sadness, not only because she lost a simple pleasure, but because she lost her trust in her own body. But here's the hopeful part. Science shows this is not the end of the road. The eyes still have the ability to repair themselves if we give them the right conditions. Think of it as a repair crew that does its work at night while you sleep. Melatonin is the manager of that team. But if the blue light from your phone or TV wipes out melatonin, or if your diet is poor in antioxidants, then that repair crew becomes weak and ineffective. I want you to imagine this each night as you drift into deep sleep. Your eyes begin their own journey of renewal. If your sleep is restful and your body is well nourished, you'll wake up with eyes that feel cleansed, clearer, refreshed. But if your sleep is shallow or your diet unbalanced instead of renewal, your eyes carry the burden of yesterday into today, more tired, more strained, more vulnerable. That's why so many older adults feel their eyesight slipping away, not only because of time itself, but because we unknowingly rob our eyes of their chance to heal. You see, this isn't just about science. It's about how we live. When we take care of our eyes, we're actually protecting our freedom, our independence, and those simple joys that make everyday life worth living. So if you're hearing me right now, I want you to pause and ask yourself, are my eyes tired? Am I giving them enough rest, enough nourishment to recover? The answer to that question will shape how you experience your 60s, 70s, even your 80s. I believe aging does not mean giving up. Growing older is simply a new chapter one, where we must listen to our bodies more closely, act with more patience, and choose habits that nurture life. Nowhere is this truer than with our eyes. And in the next parts, I'll share with you simple, natural solutions to help your eyes regain clarity and confidence, even as you move into a new stage of life. Let me explain in plain language. Your retina, the thin layer at the back of your eye, is like the screen of a sophisticated camera. It needs a tremendous amount of energy to work. But with energy use comes free radicals, tiny sparks that can cause damage. I often compare free radicals to little embers that fly out when you burn wood. If they stay inside a fireplace, they're harmless. But if they scatter, they can set a fire. In your eyes, when you're young, your body has plenty of firefighters, melatonin, and antioxidants to put those sparks out. But as we age, that defense team shrinks and weakens. The result, free radicals begin to attack the very cells that matter most. especially the rod cells that allow us to see in the dark. I've seen it countless times. Patients in their mid-50s tell me, "Doctor, I just can't adjust to the dark the way I used to." One gentleman told me, "I remember going to the movies when the lights went off. Within seconds, I could see everyone around me. Now, 10 minutes later, I'm still fumbling in the dark." That's the quiet erosion happening inside. It's not just blurry vision, it's trouble with contrast difficulty, telling colors apart, and sensitivity to glare. Imagine driving at night, a headlight from the opposite lane flashes in your eyes. Years ago, you blinked and moved on. Now that same glare leaves you disoriented for seconds, and those seconds could mean safety or danger. And here's something even more powerful: the link between your eyes and sleep. I often remind my patients the eyes don't just get tired from the day's work. They suffer when they don't get proper rest at night. Sleep is when your body begins its most miraculous repair process. Melatonin, often called the hormone of darkness, is the conductor of that orchestra. It clears the way for antioxidants to work, helps sweep out free radicals, repairs DNA, and restores mitochondria, the tiny engines that give your cells energy. So if you're in your 50s or 60s and noticing your eyesight weaken, don't just accept it as fate. Revisit your sleep. Ask yourself, did I truly give my eyes the rest they needed last night? Am I letting melatonin do its job? Because it is in the darkness of night that the light of your vision for tomorrow is reborn. And here's the good news: nature has given us a powerful gift, a fruit called tart cherry. Why are tart cherries so special? First, they contain natural melatonin. You can think of melatonin as your body's internal clock, gently telling your eyes, it's time to rest, it's time to repair. When you eat tart cherries in the evening, especially about an hour before bedtime, you're giving your body just a little extra fuel for its natural recovery process. But melatonin is only part of the story. Tart cherries also contain anthocyanins, the deep red-purple pigments you see in their skin. These are powerful defenders against free radicals, protecting the tiny blood vessels that nourish your retina. I once had a 62-year-old patient who committed to drinking half a cup of unsweetened tart cherry juice each night before bed. After a few weeks, she told me, "Doctor, the glare from streetlights doesn't bother me anymore when I take my evening walk. My eyes feel younger." Alongside tart cherries, a few simple habits can make a big difference. Stay hydrated throughout the day because your eyes are like small pools; they need moisture to stay clear. Take a gentle walk in the late afternoon to improve circulation and keep your eyes nourished. And don't forget to turn off screens, phones, TVs, tablets at least an hour before bed. Blue light is the enemy of melatonin. You see, caring for your eyes isn't just about prescriptions or reading glasses. Sometimes it's about a glass of tart cherry juice, a regular bedtime, or a slow walk at sunset. Small choices, but when added together, they shape how clearly you'll see tomorrow. When I first started recommending tart cherries, some patients were skeptical. They thought, how can a little fruit change eyes that are already aging? But then came the stories that made me smile. One gentleman in his mid-60s told me that after a month of eating tart cherries before bed, he no longer squinted while driving at night. "Now I can take my wife to evening church without worry," he said. Another woman shared that the streetlights no longer blinded her, and her sleep became deeper with fewer wake-ups in the night. These benefits may sound small, but for older adults, they are life-changing. Vision isn't just about seeing clearly, it's about independence, confidence, and the joy of daily life. Driving your grandchildren home, reading a book before bed, or simply strolling through your neighborhood after dinner, these are moments worth preserving. I want you to remember this: aging does not mean losing everything. No, we can't turn back the clock, but we can choose how we move through time. Caring for your eyes is caring for the light of your life. Every tart cherry, every hour of deep sleep, every gentle evening walk, they all add up to healthier eyes, and more than that, to a calmer, more fulfilled spirit. So let me leave you with this question. Today, what small but meaningful choice will you make so your eyes will thank you tomorrow? Start with one simple habit, something you can maintain. Day by day, month by month, you'll see that the light in your eyes is still there, warm, steady, and bright enough to guide you through the years ahead. If you found today's message helpful, please hit subscribe so you won't miss the videos I'll be sharing each week. And I'd love to hear from you. How are your eyes doing right now? Have you tried anything to support your vision? Share your story in the comments because your experience might inspire someone else. And don't forget to tap the notification bell so we can continue this journey together. keeping our later years clear, vibrant, and full of life.